Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be reviewing one of my students' games that we played together. And yeah, let's get into it. I am white, my student is black. Plays one space in corner enclosure. I approach, he backs off, and then I back off. Now, what black does in the game is black plays from this side, which I feel there's no real need to, and I'll show why. So what happens in the game is white just kicks, and then black jumps, which, it might seem normal, but what I would expect black to do is just approach from your corner. There's no reason to get worried about what white can build when you yourself can build something even bigger. Maybe white kicks and comes in, but if you just pincer, maybe white will take away the base but then jump. And I've shown this corner scenario a bunch of times now. Black has built the left side, or the upper left. White has a floating group. It's pretty solid, but it's a group nonetheless. Black has a floating group. And notice, these moves Black's going to be playing is going to reduce the right side naturally. If white continues here, you can see that black has already made a foundation on the right side. So there's no reason to just play immediately. Like black's in this case only thinking about, oh, what can I get rid of white, instead of just thinking, what can I build myself. I think also in this case black can also just approach directly, because black's not worried about a double approach, because when white attaches, black does not need a Hane in the corner. Instead, black can cut, and because of this move here, this is a ladder breaker. So white needs to connect, black can take, and then you can see white gets the corner, but black gets very big influence in the center, and white has ignored a move up top. So whether black answers or invades 3-3, it doesn't matter. But you can see that this is something I would expect. So even though white has played here, black should still approach. Well, I was gonna say maybe white should go here instead, but this move is just okay as well. If maybe white kicks, or let's say white doesn't kick and white just invades, then black can just pincer, and now black is going to have a target potentially, and can build the left side while attacking, because it's not super clear how white can easily handle these stones. But yeah, I think this move's a little rushed. There's no reason to play it. Plus, black loses the option to 3-3 invade later. White kicks. Yeah, high's fine. Just thinking about if black goes low. But I think high is okay. White jumps. Now white's able to emphasize the bottom. Yes, P2. I love this move. This is quote-unquote a new move, so I'm glad that my student has played it. If white in the game, I just took the 3-3. I think I should just take the outside and let black live in the corner. The outside's worth more, plus now there's a weakness here. Whether I attack it directly or kind of threaten it and build the bottom while threatening it. Either way, I think the corner is small. Because once I go here, black can... Let's see, what should black do? Black just goes here. If white takes it out, then black gets to extend. And black has a pretty nice base. If I go from the other side, though, now black has a pretty solid base as well. So, yeah. In the game, though, black comes up. Now, you only play this shoulder hit if, one, you want to reduce your opponent's center influence, or you yourself want to build your center influence. But in this game, because white's only area that white is building is the bottom, there's no real connection between the upper right and the bottom. So I don't really see a need for this move for black. Especially if black just follows up, the spacing here is very awkward. And black loses a lot of aji in the corner. So again, black, you should either just approach or follow up with your move on the bottom. Black shoulder hits though, and then takes a large point on the left. But spacing wise, it's not super great because it still leaves a weakness here around c8, and it also leaves a weakness here. This is kind of why the Sanrensei has kind of fallen out of style and is considered not as good anymore, is because it left two weaknesses when you play in the center spot, and it's still the same here. There's a weakness here potentially and a weakness here. So that's why kind of the sides are kind of uninteresting anymore. So if anything, if black wants to play on the left, I think this move's a little better, because you can see black has now protected here. So now there's only one area that black needs to worry about. Again, with this one, there's two areas. I think also maybe this spacing, it feels a little better on the upper side. It feels like moves I would see in professional games, at least. It's something about just playing right here doesn't seem right. I don't know, something about it, but I think this move is better. If black wants to build the left, black could also consider maybe kicking, and then yeah, this move is good too. Yeah. If white ignores, then black gets another move, and now the left side's pretty solid. So, in general, this move is awkward spacing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Kind of these three space extensions like this are kind of not so common anymore. It's another reason why another opening that was very popular recently, the Kobayashi, it has also fallen out of style. But I take the big move on the top side. Again, black could have still approached. Yeah. And be actually pretty similar. Black could still just jump. So, yeah. Definitely, I think this move's pretty small. White gets there. And then, but then black extends anyways. So, black took a smaller extension on the side when he could have taken a bigger one. I think it's also important to note, let's just assume black gets gote. Black shouldn't really be worried about white taking a move on the left side. Like, it's kind of like, okay, you're allowed to, white, like it's no problem. I'll just go elsewhere now. And black can still attack depending on where white goes. So it's not super urgent to play a move on the sides anymore. Large knights, extend, and then I invade. So this was actually, I knew that this move wasn't as good as another move that I had, but me and my student, we had just talked about playing this one space extension on the side and how, even though it's cramped, how important it is. Because of course this move would be better for white because there's a connection on the second line and making a base. So maybe this of course would be more normal, and then the game would continue from here. But I was testing my opponent or my student to see if he would play it, and he did not. He played here. So this move I can understand, but it's definitely a very greedy move because right now, if you look on the J line right here. If you look to the left of it, it looks like, or actually, look at the M17 line, or the M line. If you look to the left of it, white looks like a weak stone. But if you look on the F line, to the right of the F line, this black stone is between two white stones. So that means, depending on who gets to play the vital point, the other stone is weaker. So for example, what stone here is weaker for black? The corner or this stone? Of course L17 is weaker. There's more white stones in the area. There's only one stone. It doesn't have a base. So of course black should play to help the weaker stone. And maybe black was afraid of white jumping in, but white still cannot live if white dives. Maybe black was afraid of this, but if you just answer simply, there's no how. As one at the Go Congress, as one of the strong amateurs who was teaching said, as black playing this way, how do you lose this game? Like how did playing this way lose the game for you? It didn't. So there's no problem with playing this way. If white jumps, you just jump with white. And because you have a base and white doesn't, you can actually jump out faster. Compare something like this to what happened in the game like this. Now white's the one with the base, and black's the one without the base, and black all of a sudden is the one that looks weaker. So it's pretty crazy, but yeah, just getting this one move means a lot. Yeah, so this is a bad move. It's greedy. Help the weaker stone. And you can see after this, now white can play at L18 and connect. It's also important to note that if something like this happens, black is then going to build the left side while attacking. This is what you want from an attack. You want to attack for profit. You don't want to attack to kill. So you can see black would get a pretty, if we do something simple like this, you can see black's going to get a very decent result on the left side. And it's because black took care of his weaker stones. So white extends, black jumps, white jumps here. I could have done this. I think with this move I was looking at the attachment at E17, where if I can cut across here, I could get an Atari like this. Like my shape would be better on that side, but I think it's just still better to do this. Get ahead of black. Now, it's important to note that there's a ton of Aji in the upper right, but it's not as good anymore because black has made this Q13 exchange. So in the game, black shoulder hit here, which loses a ton of Aji in the corner, and then just jumps. So I think what black was thinking here is that he's trying to be light, but there's a difference between being light and being strong. Like, there's no reason to play lightly here when there's no gain at all for black. Like, what's black getting on the outside? Black has so many weaknesses still. So just because shape is flexible does not mean it's strong. So if black wanted to do anything, black should just jump and leave Aji in the corner. So what Aji is there in the corner, you ask? Well, there is Aji of playing here, and playing here. So there's a lot of different options. I think this way is the cleanest way, but it's also the way white can just answer like this, and then it's black gets a little bit out of the corner, but it's not as big. So black would like to go this far in. You can see now if white does anything, black has reduced white by a little bit more. and then clamp, and then see what white does. So black would like to go here. White can play this move to disconnect black, but then black gets to play the 3-3. However, because of the moves black has played, notice white can actually clamp. And if black tries to break through, you can see this move is going to be an Atari, which means there's nothing here for black. Black's just dead in the corner. However, I won't play all the other moves. Let's say black didn't make this exchange. Black just goes here. Whatever. If black were to play this move now, notice white is unable to play this clamp, because now when black goes here, black is not caught. Black can run out, actually. So black can actually just live in the corner this way. But because in the game black made this exchange here, you can see how it reduced a ton of Aji in the corner. So when you play this sort of shoulder hit, you have to make sure that's what you want. So yeah, this lost a lot of Aji when black shoulder hit. And then this move lost even more Aji, because black could have at least gone here. Yeah, in this case, pretty sure, even though white can play the same move, it's a little better for black. Yeah, black has enough space, I believe. Black pushes up once, and then extends down. Yeah, black should be okay here. Well, it's hard for white to take out the eye here. Because white's shape is not that great, so yeah, this would be too risky for white. So in this case, black can only go this far, but then white can only, it doesn't reduce white by as much. So big difference, big difference. But then the playing here just completely gets rid of all that Aji. So again, if you're gonna take the outside and give your opponent the inside, in this case black took the 4th line move, giving white 3rd line territory, you have to make sure it's good for you. But here, even though black's shape is pretty good here, black didn't need to do this. There's no need to play lightly here. Because again, black loses a lot in the corner, loses Sente. He still has a ton of weaknesses, so yeah. So then I play this large knight's moves. Again, I'm trying to build the bottom. That was my goal from when I jumped here, so I'm just going to keep with my plan. And you can see at this point, black's only points are on the upper left side. White's points are the upper right and the bottom right a little bit. So point-wise, white is definitely leading, and white has more potential. So at this point, white's definitely doing pretty well. And this is another case where in the game, black one space jumped into the center, but black should just take his points. Just take his points. Again, how will he lose this game by playing here? He can't. But when he one space jumps, not only does it leave this weakness, but again, what is the stone gaining for black? It's hard to see. It's very easy to see, oh, this creates potential territory on the left side, whereas this, it's hard to see what it does. Plus, it's considered pretty awkward to just one space jump into the center with a 4th line move. So I think at least do something like this or like this. Be a little more forceful. Yeah. And after the game, he told me he was going after these 3 stones. But, of course, white can connect at L18 anytime. So, I guess it was just a dream, daydream for black. So I shoulder hit. I wanted to do this, but once black actually has one space jumped, black can actually play this sort of sequence and cut me off. So I wanted to protect that first. I went here. Plus this move, again, emphasizes the bottom. And then black plays on the bottom. Now, I don't know why he chose on the 4th line, because it's going to be hard to get a base that way. Whereas if you just play here, again, if white takes this side, you can make a base. Oops, excuse me. If white takes the other side, black can extend. So again, not really sure why black played on the 4th line as opposed to the 3rd line. When you're invading, usually you want to try to be on the 3rd line, because it's easier to make a base, especially when, sure, white has stones in the nearby area, but the stones, they're not a wall yet, they're not considered thickness yet. There's still a ton of weaknesses. So in the game, I just play here. Now I've captured these points, but you can see, as opposed to having the stone here, where black can extend and get a base, after this move, if black tries to make a base, white can just scoop it out, because black has played on the 4th line. So it's going to be a lot harder to keep a base once you play on the 4th line. Black plays here. Again, he's trying to go after these stones. But again, this feels like wrong direction. Like black's saying, okay, even if you extend, I'm going to make points on the center here. But then white would just take out the points on the left side. So I don't know why black doesn't play from this side, at least. Right, especially after this 1 space jump. That would be 5th line territory, that'd be pretty good. So this feels like wrong direction as well. In the game, I extend here because I know I can connect underneath anytime. And again, black plays what looks like good shape, but it's considered slack in this case. Just why doesn't black want to Hane? It takes away liberties from these 2 stones so that a push and cut is more lethal. It reduces white from being able to get inside. Yeah, I don't know why. If he's afraid of this cut, I'll just play very simply. You can see after this, now white has 1 weak group here potentially, and white has a weak group up top as well. So now if white were to cut here, white would be making 2 weak groups for black to attack. This is what you want as black. You want to invite white to make another group. So let's just play very simply. I don't know, something like this. Let's just assume white's alive. Then black would be able to attack the top and kill the top. This is what you want from an attack. You want a dual attack. So black was definitely, in this game, it felt black was very afraid to fight. Which, in a teaching game, you should want to try to invite fights, because that's how you learn. That's how you're going to get better, is by fighting against stronger players. It's not by cowering and playing moves like this. And again, it feels like good shape, but it leaves more weaknesses than if you had just covered. So after this move, white connects. Now there's actually because of black's string cheese, I'll call it, on the outside, it's actually a little interesting. So if black Hane's here, this one would be not so good. Because of this stone here. Excuse me, sorry. Because of this stone here, it's harder for black to find a good cut. Especially since black needs to live on the top. So black can take 2nd line territory, but white just connects and it's no problem. But this move is the interesting move, actually. If white cuts and black goes here, you can see black cutting here is actually threatening this stone in a ladder because of this move. So if white just, plays normally, whatever, black's able to cut here, and white is caught in a ladder. So white needs to play this move. But that'll allow black to Hane. White can Atari. Capture. and then black can Atari and Hane. Black cannot go here because this move is threatening these 2 stones in a ladder, or just capturing it. So black would need to come back, but then white can just take the corner. And even though black can still live on the top, white's gain in the center is too much. So black can only Hane here, and now white needs to cut here, and black's able to get a pretty big squeeze actually, as opposed to the other variation where black gives up the outside but takes the side. Now black actually takes the corner as well. And now it's, if white ignores, this move actually has a big effect because white stones in the upper right are not alive yet. So yeah, this would probably be worth it for black to do, probably honestly right now. So I don't know if he considered it or what, but he does not do that. What does he do? Ah yes, he now plays down here, which this move is a decent move, but again, I would rather have the stone on the 3rd line because you can see there's an obvious weakness at K2 now, whereas if the stone was on lower, it's not as bad. Now black, I'm not sure what these exchanges are for, but black makes a ton of exchanges. Looks like you're making white have super bad shape, but I feel like it's not doing a whole lot, like it's wasting co-threats almost, because black just 2-space jumps here. But again, these are the weak stones, so if white just like cuts black off, I don't know what black plans on doing, because now even if black can live on the side, white's gonna get influence in the center. So black really needed to play a move like this, or a move like this, or something. Play from your weak stones. There's no reason to, if you're gonna play all these exchanges, you have to play from the stones. Like, I'd rather black had done that right now. Then if white tries to cut off black, then black can switch what he wants to do, and maybe he can play a move like this. I'm not sure, but once black plays all these moves, black is now needs to help these stones. And the game, though, I just come down because after I get F2, right, this move here, I can threaten the corner, which he answers, and then I attach. So at this point, it's hard to see how black is going to get back into the game, but I feel as though this sort of move here is not so, it's not so, what's the word I'm trying to say, good, to put it lightly. I don't know. Just, I'll show the result first and then I'll come back to this move. White attaches, double Hane, of course, attach and double Hane. And then I play D2, which is threatening the corner. He answers. I attach. He needs to answer these moves. And then I come back and connect. And you can see after black connects, when I attach, or when I dive and black attaches, instead of going here, allowing black to play this sort of move, I can play up. And because I've made this exchange at C7, black cannot push through. So it's a pretty big difference. If I hadn't made those exchanges, you can see black can actually extend back. And the point gain is actually not too bad for black. So that's why I needed to do this first. And that's why I ignored at the top, even though black had targeted me. So this result, white gets the left side, so this is pretty bad for black. Black got a small corner in the lower left, a small corner in the upper left, and again, these stones here that black was playing lightly, it's hard to see how those are going to make points. And remember, black played this move here to get the side, and he's gotten none of the side. D10 early on. So because of this, black needs to try other moves. I don't. This black needs to assess the board, and if just playing here is enough to win, then sure, play that move. But like maybe black should consider this move or consider this move. Do something else. This was the move that caught my eye during the game, because even though white can Hane, but white cannot live locally. So the question is, does this move actually work? Now, it will at least complicate the game, whereas playing this way keeps the game very simple, especially when white has the sequence in the bottom. After this, it's kind of hard to diverge into anything else that's better for black. So I actually, before I did this review, I went through the game, and I actually went through at least like 30 variations in this corner. And yeah, it was pretty intense actually, and I found all these cool variations where white barely lives or things like that, or black kills or whatever. And then I found, of course, when you do the simple moves, it's actually the ones that actually work the best. So like I was looking at, well, this move doesn't work, doesn't really help white, so what if white just attaches and then clamps? So this is what I would call the quote-unquote cool variation. If black, of course, if black comes down, white can actually, the move here, is that move actually that good? Yeah, it is actually. If black connects, white's able to Hane, and if black can clamp, then white can extend, and then play here, and white's already doing pretty well because black isn't actually alive on the top, so black needs to be careful. So the better move for black is to play this one. White will drop down though. This is the important move. Black needs to cut, and locally black wins this semi because white needs to play this move now, and then black can go here. Now what's interesting is you might think, well, actually white can play E18 first and that'll help white's liberties, but it actually doesn't, because black can just simply extend at B19, and now white has actually lost the semi. White needs to do this, and black simply just takes away liberties from the other side, and you can see white cannot win. So that move won't help white, but white can extend. Black needs to go here. White will then play here. This is the key point. If black comes on top, white will just go here. If black Ataris, you can already see white starting to get enough space for two eyes. Like right now, white can connect at B10, so black needs to disconnect white. White can then play a fancy move at A18. If black plays here, it's a ko, which again, since it's for the life of the whole upper left, be pretty big. So, and if black goes here, it would be another ko. So black needs to go here, and then white can Atari, and then white can cut, and you can see black needs to go there, and then yeah, black actually just kind of collapses at this point. There's not a lot black can do. So yeah, this variation wouldn't be so good for black. If black comes here, white will Hane on top. Black needs to crawl. White can then connect. If black plays from this side, then white's able to come back here and yeah, pretty easily live. And because of the stone at D13, black cannot push through and cut. So this way doesn't work. White just has enough stones and enough Aji to make it work. If black descends, white can play this move, which is a funny looking move, but I'm pretty sure it just works. Like if black wedges, white can Atari once and then connect, and cut off the stone there. If black connects here, then white can play here. And if black turns here, white can connect this way. And now these stones up on the upper side are cut off. Yeah, so this way it's pretty... and it's hard for black to do anything else. Like, even doing this... does white connect there? Cut. I didn't... During my review, I didn't consider D16. Did I just think that connecting was good enough for white and then going here? Yeah, this is probably just good enough for white because there's still weakness at C11. But this would definitely be better for black than in the game. But you can, yeah, this attachment was the move I was looking at. Yeah, look at this really quick. Try to do some speed reading. Black can also peep here, so black might want to peep instead. White can clamp. Clamp's actually a little annoying for black. That might be the move. Yeah. Black descends, white can crawl. Or extend, crawl. Maybe wedge. The wedge is so that if black goes here, white can Atari. And then can connect this way. So black cannot connect normally. Black needs to like extend here. But then white can play here. And yeah, white's already looking pretty flexible here. Can connect out this way, can come down this way and connect here or cut off those stones. So yeah, this way actually doesn't work either. Black cuts. Or white, does white extend and then jump across maybe? Yeah. It's just, it looked black, you see all these stones that black was trying to play to, you know, to put most pressure on white ended up not going so well. But there's a ton of, like, I was reading out all these things that could happen, and then it's like, oh, white can just extend up. And actually this just cleanly works. It's a lot simpler than the other variation. And oftentimes the simpler move is the best move. Like if black connects, it might seem like, in this case, white would be disconnected. There's nothing interesting about that one. Yeah, so black, quote unquote, needs to go here. But white can Hane once. If white Hanes once, black will connect here. And this is actually not too bad for black. White doesn't have a base now, and black's connected here. Black does need to worry about these 3 stones, but white himself is not that strong. But white can wedge first. If white wedges first, and then let's see, does white extend down? Extends down, extend. Maybe just Hanes. You can see black needs to come back and do this one. And this case, this would be really good for white. So there's another move white can play. Like in this case, white gets on the left side. White can also play to take the upper side because white has a really nice move here of playing at D18. Where black just plays simply, white's able to push through. So black needs to do anything. If black goes here, this would be a mistake because white can extend down once and is able to connect up this way. So black needs to just connect solidly, and then white can come down here. So white wants to, like, this would mitigate that those L18 move a little bit better. Oh no, it wouldn't. Never mind. But it would be a pretty good gain on the upper side. I was going through the review, I was like, can white play here first? Because if black just connects, is white able to make a living shape here? But black actually has a pretty funny looking move of going here. And now white actually cannot connect himself because black can extend once. Or white can. Actually, no, this would just not be good for black. Yeah, or for white, because then black can connect back. The key is if white cannot go here, because black has a nice Teisuji of playing at b19, and then which gets rid of a liberty for white. But yeah. So bottom line, this was actually a very good technique, but thing for me to do going to the review is looking through all these variations, because you can guarantee I didn't read a single one of those during the game when I really need to. Even though black didn't even play this move, I need to really challenge myself during games. And that goes for my student, for anybody watching. You really need to try to challenge yourself reading. And that's why reviewing your games can be helpful, because in what world would we have played those variations? Probably, and none of them, but it's very important to know that there's so many possibilities and so many variations that, Go is limitless, and that's why we play it. So I always tell all my students, just don't look at Go through a microscope, look at it through a telescope. Really try to broaden your vision of Go, and you're going to start to see things that your opponent may not see, your own teachers might not see, I won't see, anybody will see. And then that's when your Go becomes your Go. So yeah, there's my Go philosophy for the day. So bottom line, this move will not get black into the game. Black needs to try something else. I guess is the bottom line. Even though the variations here may not be as simple, if you're behind, you need to bring up the pressure. So, yeah. So, b15. Let's get back to the game. Attaches, doesn't work. Black just extends. And then plays a bamboo joint. But I can just connect. Yeah. I didn't want to go here because he can peep and he can still cut me off, so it actually doesn't help at all because he can still cut me off here, so I just connect solidly. And then again, black plays this move, which again looks like good shape, but it's just not strong. Why does black not want to play here if black's going to play there? Or why doesn't black want to play something like this? Help the weak stones. Like, how is this move getting black points? It's not. So then I finally fix here. And at this point the game is white has now taken the points on the left side, bottom right and upper right. Black's only points are the bottom left and upper left. And black has a weak group on the bottom and weak stones just floating in the center and the upper right. So this is going to be pretty hard for black. Black finally plays from his weak stones. I extend once, and then he extends back, and then I play here. But I think this might be a mistake. I should just jump in, because at this point, I wonder if black can play a move like this. It's tricky to say, how big this move is, because that move's pretty big. But if black's able to come back here, all of a sudden black has the center. So I don't even know if I would have time to Hane. I have to do something like this. But then black can come back and go here. I would need a connect probably. And now black has solidified the center and helped his bottom stones. So I think this move's a mistake. I should just come into the center. But black missed it and played here. So then I was able to come in, attach, cut, which is also 10 gen. So bonus points for black. Atari, and then extend back. Atari, attach. See how black answers. If black answers softly, then I get to just reduce his area for free. Something. So black plays strongly here, and then I play a very nice move of L5. This it's kind of what this attachment and these Ataris were kind of building up to, because you can see now I'm threatening to cut these stones off. So black needs to play here, but then I can extend down, and you can see because of all these exchanges, pretty good for black, or pretty good for white. Black needs to wedge. At this point, I think this move's not so good, or is actually, no, this move's good. This move's fine. I think at this is where the mistake is. I think I should just connect back here, because black has to go here, but I don't need to answer that move. I can just play here, and now I'm getting into black's center. Although this was, of course, I think this is also fine. Black cut, so I fixed my shape. This move is necessary. I do not have time to save these 2 stones because black can throw in. And then Atari. So I need to go here. As opposed to playing here. This move, you'll see, actually has a big effect on the life and death of this white stick. So black throws in an Atari's, but this is actually really bad because black forced white to play M8, which reduced the liberties of these 2 black stones in the center. Whereas if black just Atari's, white still needs to answer, but now these stones have more liberties. So I'll show you what happened in the game first, and then I'll come back and show you why just Ataring is better. Because one, black, of course, gave up a point as well. But now black needs to capture these 2 stones. So white wants to play both this cut here, but white also needs to worry about these stones here. So what does white do? White wedges in here. So this is a very good move, and this is the point of L3, is you can see that it's threatening to cut, but if black answers, white's actually able to come back and save these now. You can see without this move, white is unable to save these stones. So, but once white plays here, you can see that it does work. And black needs to connect. But now I have Miai between K3 and connecting at E7. And even just going here is pretty big in and of itself. But I would be able to cut here and get into black's area. What black does in the game is connect here, which I don't understand. Well, I can understand it, but taking these off is much better because the liberty's here. Whereas playing here means I get to Atari here, which means he needs to answer, but then I can capture this stone. Whereas if black goes here, the best white can do is this. Now, of course, both are probably big enough for white, or definitely big enough for white, but this is definitely better than going here. Just take the stones off the board. There's no reason to keep them on. Also, you can see if you just Atari as black, you're reducing, you haven't gotten rid of the liberties here, so now no matter what, the best white can do is cut there. So you can see, like, now if black wanted, black could do this, but black should still do this. But you can see now if white tries to cut, there's nothing here now, because black hasn't forced white to play M8. So that's why, one, the throw-in is bad here. The throw-in here is bad because it reduced the liberties here. But then also, going here is bad because black kept the 2 stones on the board. So black in this area played the worst that black could have gotten as a result, because white's able to cut here and it works. Whereas every other variation, white's either able to only cut here or no cuts work. So yeah, so cut, he took it off, and then I captured, and at this point my student resigned, which is understandable. Yeah, I think the big takeaways for this game is black needs to know the difference between when to make light stones, or like light shapes, and strong shapes. Black also needs to work on attacking, but we've gone over that. as well. So working on attacking and why we attack as opposed to attacking, you know, for who knows why. Yeah, I think reading too. Though can't be a lazy reader if you want to get better. So you gotta be sharp, as they say. You gotta stay sharp. But yeah, if you have any questions about this game, please let me know. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.